right, welcome back. I did decide upon a name, finally. You can call me Cyclop instead of Father the Opinionator. Still the father of, but we'll change it up to something a little bit more official, in my opinion. So Cyclop, thank you. Anyways, let me speak on this Donald Trump impeachment situation here. I just want to start off by saying you're 100% correct in terms of time frame, right? They're very late in the process here. At this point, it is almost irrelevant in terms of the proceedings that need to take place, right? Like you said, the time is not of the essence for these guys, for the Democrats, for the people pulling the trigger on trying to get Donald Trump impeached. Will they be successful in getting him impeached at this point? I mean, again, who knows? Will they be successful in the time that it takes for, the next elections? Who knows? Doesn't really, we as the people, that's the problem here. We as the people of the country, we don't get to decide how long these processes take, what the process is, right? We're not the ones sitting in the chairs making those rules and making those determinations. I don't need to explain that. You understand that. Everybody understands that. But what we do get to decide as a people is our opinion on Donald Trump and the things that he's done as president of the United States. We can attempt to dismiss this Ukraine conversation as merely, two world diplomats having a conversation. But history has a way of repeating itself. And ignorant people, in my opinion, repeat history quite often. Hence, their ignorance, right? Is one the cause of the other, right? Are they repeating their ignorance because they're ignorant, or are they ignorant because they're repeating their ignorance? Ooh, I don't know. Okay, but listen. The previous election, the one in which Donald Trump got elected, right? He did the same thing in terms of Hillary Clinton, right? He had people investigate. That's the thing, right? In terms of money. Money can buy you a lot of freedom. It can buy you a lot of privilege all at the same time. And Donald Trump has plenty of that money. And he proved that with the election, right? Am I saying that his money won him the election? Well, in a sense, you could make that argument. But the same practices were put into place for the 2016 election, and that is to have a foreign country in one form or another, okay, essentially spy on his opponents, right? We talk about crooked Hillary and blah, 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 blah. These are statements that were put out, by Donald Trump. These were things that were created by Donald Trump and his team. Not by him, not by Donald Trump himself. Of course, the motherfucker is not that smart. But the point is, he has a team. He had a team of people, that were doing the research for him. And then they would take that research and they would, put that out into the world, right? The internet is an amazing place. We have the ability to share information on a whim, just like this video, just like your video. I urge, give me just a second here, I need to Google. Alright, I think this is it. Let me see here. Alright, so yeah, I encourage you all, to whomever is listening, right? Go watch on Netflix a documentary called The Great Hack. All right, Now, if you don't have Netflix, find clips of it on YouTube, pirate that bitch, figure out a way to see this movie, okay? The Great Hack. And, is this the end all be all? Obviously not, right? This movie doesn't, you know, paint a undeniable target and say, these are the facts and this is the proof and this is what it is. However, it does shed light on lots and lots of the inner workings of how our government allowed another government to infiltrate its elections. You can disregard if you choose, right? That's the problem is we're given choices on our opinions, and we don't truly make our own opinions on these types of things. If you take a look at the media, right? You take a look at the news, and you look at all the news. Try and find yourself a wide variety of news reports, and try to find one that does not provide some form of bias in its reporting. You're gonna have a very hard time doing that. So the point of that statement there is that you have this documentary, right? Among all of the other evidence that we have, you have this documentary that does its best to lay down the timeline, lay down the facts of the situation, and, really expose the manipulation that gets taken place by not only, things like Facebook and Google, okay, but the internet in general, the news media in general. We get stuck in this loop of, right, we only trust this news source, or that's fake news, or this is that and this is that. Aside from really taking a look at what the situation is, right? Let's strip away all the bullshit and let's take a look at what the facts of the situation are. And we'll just go as an example. We'll go with the Donald Trump and the Ukraine situation. Ukraine, it's a foreign country. It goes without saying that Ukraine is a foreign country. Okay, but the point here is that Donald Trump, in his diplomatic position, is having a conversation with another diplomat saying, hey, you know that guy Joe Biden, right? Yeah, I think he did some shady shit with some of your people. You should look into that. And by the way, we're about to give you a whole bunch of money. Listen, it doesn't matter how you paraphrase the conversation. It really doesn't. Even if you read the conversation word for word, I guess he didn't come right out and say, hey, we're not going to give you a bunch of money, or we are going to give you a bunch of money. But he did indeed say, we should look into Joe Biden and your people. It's a travesty. You should look into that. Right? And what that's telling that guy, that foreign diplomat, is that he should investigate a United States citizen, a fucking vice president. No less. Now, would this conversation had taken place if Joe Biden was not running for president? We don't know, right? We don't know. Of course, we'll never know. We're somewhere in a multi-dimensional universe that world does exist, where Donald Trump decided not to do that and Joe Biden decided not to run for president. But it's neither here nor there. This is the world we live in today. But the bottom line here is that in multiple instances now, we have the President of the United States of America reaching out to foreign governments and saying, hey, you should spy on these U.S. citizens here. There's lots of reasons why he would ask a foreign government to do such a thing. Excuse me. For one, if that information is put out into the world, whatever their investigation was, right? Let's say they did an investigation and they found some dirt on Joe Biden that was, worthy of reporting. Okay, and the situation here, the shit that they apparently did find on Joe Biden isn't that incriminating to begin with, and so. Who makes the motherfucking laws, right? Everything right now is law of opinion based on the money that you have. Whatever the public opinion is of the crime that you've committed, 99% of the time, your punishment fits the public opinion, okay? And these politicians are so bulletproof that it really doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't matter. But that's, I don't know. The problem that I have here is we as a society here in the United States of America, we have a very sheepish way of allowing the government to do these types of things, right? This is the government that runs this country. These are its representatives. And these are the childish, ridiculous games that they play. And I say they, and I put them all into the same basket because they act as a whole. Divided as they may be, they act as a whole, right? All decisions get made across the board. This side does that. They adhere to the rules as best as they can in terms of the Constitution and how things should be handled. They do their best as a collective whole to uphold the Constitution, right? But then at the same time, they do their best to manipulate those rules at the exact same time, right? This is evident throughout the entire history of the United States government. Crooked politicians. And it does not matter what side of the fence these politicians sit. It does not matter. They are all within the same level of corruptible. Okay, they even Barack. Okay, even Obama. What's Obama's last name? This shit. I literally thought about it for a couple minutes when I saw that. But anyway, the point is we allow these things to happen, right? When we talk about, or when Donald Trump talks about draining the swamp, right? That's just a political, slogan that's being used to say everybody that's currently in the House that opposes my views, they're just garbage, right? I mean, look at the shit that the dude flings at every politician in the mix that doesn't agree with him or isn't part of his, Republican team. He's like a motherfucking, he's like a child. And I guess, I don't know, how is that refreshing? I don't know. I really just don't get it. I don't understand that mentality of people who say, his non-political background, right? He's not a politician background. That's what makes it refreshing. The things that he says is refreshing. He talks just like the rest of us. He's not supposed to. I mean, we need to be clear on that. Somebody needs to there needs to be a conversation about how political leaders should hold themselves in public. The guy tweets all day. I understand social media is huge, but he's the president. He's the president of the United States. Now, why do I feel it's important for him to put on a certain image? Well, because it's the world. This is the world stage. We're the most powerful country in the world. I don't know. Listen, we as a people, we allow this type of shit to happen. We don't stop it. We have the ability to stop it. We just choose not to. We just shrug our shoulders and say, well, you know what? These guys did this, right? So now, if you take a look at a lot of conservative and Republican, news sites, right? They're really trying to push the Joe Biden story. We're on the flip side, all the Democratic and liberal side news medias are really pushing the Donald Trump story. It's just a fucking it's just a ridiculous mess of pointing fingers and saying he did this and he did that. Now, what should the Democrats really be doing? The Democrats should really be fucking organizing themselves and deciding what it is that they need to fix and how to fix it if they want to win. I don't think that they're going to win. I don't give a fuck who's on the Democrat side. I don't think any of them are going to win. I don't think this impeachment process is going to hurt Donald Trump in any way, right? That's the big thing about politics, is that a lot of it is, how do we simply get the public on our side, right? How do we get Republicans to become Democrats? How do we get people to dislike this guy or girl, okay? Because it's done on both sides of the party lines. Both sides throw shit at each other. Both sides try to figure out who's the worst human being on the planet, and they use that information to their benefit to try and win over the public. They're not going to win over Republicans. It's just not going to happen, regardless of this information. Now, that blows my mind. It blows my mind that people would accept his shit and allow it to go and consider it okay. I cannot grasp it. I cannot understand it in any way. But that's just me, right? I think that the things that he's done since he's been a president are absolutely appalling. I've never, I don't know. It just blows my mind. But it blows my mind even more so that as a society, we allow him to do these things as well, right? Nobody stops him. Nobody prevents him. Nobody else is appalled by these things, right? Nobody else has the same amount of, anger about these things as I do. Some people do. Don't get me wrong. There are people that do. And what is the problem that I have? It's just, again, it's a blanket. It's not just Donald Trump. My problem is the government. My problem is the government as a whole. My problem is the people who are supposed to control the government, us, right? We do nothing to fix these things. We take no stands to change how the government perceives us as a people, right? The Constitution, the rules that were set forth indicate that we run this. This is our country, the people. The government, they're elected officials, every last one of them. They're servants to the people of this country. And we make no changes to secure that, right? We as a people do nothing to ensure that we still hold that control over the government, because we are just happy enough with what the government provides us, right? We're just happy enough. Yeah, maybe not everybody's happy with the way things are, but the majority of people are happy. And in any team environment, right? Any team or group setting, the majority rules. And as long as the majority is happy and complacent, listen, the few that are crying about these problems, they'll be okay, right? We don't really give a fuck about them. They'll weed themselves out, right? There needs to be a voice within the people, okay, fighting for these things. And when people fight for them, unfortunately, in today's society, today's internet-based society, it can gain a lot of steam, right? It can really do that. But the internet has a way of destroying these types of movements. Take any one of them, any movement you'd like. And the internet has the way of destroying that movement and decreasing its validity. And so it's hard to fight against the government, and not just because of the internet. I mean, there's lots of. Anyways, listen. He's probably not going to get impeached. He's probably going to be elected in 2020. We're going to have 4 more years of just, insane media. And I think that's part of the problem. We the media is part of the problem, and the media is the internet, and the internet is not the internet or the media. You know, it's the news, the public opinion is given across many fronts, and there's too many. There's too many news outlets. There's too many people talking about these things, and nobody talking about them collectively, right? You have how many billions of people on the planet? How many of those billions are millions? And how many of those millions of people have internet access and the ability to voice an opinion? All of them. How many of them do? Well, if you look at the internet, it would seem like a lot, right? The problem is they're not being organized with their opinions and their thoughts and their issues, right? The news outlets, as an example, my opinion is that the news outlets need to just stop. All of them need to fucking stop talking, gather themselves across the board, right? And decide to stop being biased in their reporting. All of these opinion pieces, opinion shows, right? You take a look at any news network where the majority of what they're calling news is opinion-based topics, just like our videos here. These are opinion-based, based loosely in facts and research. We're not out here news reporting, right? We're not doing all the hard research. No, somebody else has already done that. We're just speaking on our thoughts on the process here. But the news, the media, the ones who we hold, right? That's the problem. We hold the news media to a high standard, but not high enough, right? We choose to only get our news from that. We discredit internet news. We discredit, people really fucking putting in work and on the internet, right? YouTube as an example, right? We discredit all those people and we say, no, listen, NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, ESPN, right? Those CNN, those are the only news stations in existence, and we should only listen to them. And some people live their life that way, and we don't hold those people to any standards either. They're just reality shows at the end of the day. With a bunch of opinions thrown in and a sprinkle of some actual facts. You have to weed through all the facts, unfortunately. In this Donald Trump situation here, I read the transcript. Is that good enough? Well, that's what I have at my fingertips, is the transcript. And according to the transcript of that call between President Trump and the Ukrainian, whatever the fuck his name is, right? In my opinion, he really said, hey, look, man, investigate this guy. We're giving you a bunch of money. It's the least you could do. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, this is long and rambling. I apologize for that. I try to remain focused in my thoughts. But I go off on lots of different tangents. These topics are real passionate to me, right? And the passion just really comes down to what this country should be, in my opinion, right? I believe that as the people, we should really be running the show. And I really don't believe that we have that control anymore over our country. I don't think that any amount of, I just don't think that we run this like we should as the people of this country. We should be doing way more to ensure these types of things don't happen. The more we allow them to happen, the more we allow politicians to run everything and make all of the decisions, where we lose all of our freedoms. Maybe they give us just the barest amount of freedom, okay? They give us enough just to be happy, and that's what sheep are, Sheep are happy just with just enough. Just the grass. As long as I just got the grass, I'm good. I don't need anything else. I got my patch of grass here, and that's all there is to it, And I'm going to eat this grass. I'm not really going to look at anybody else's grass. I don't know who cuts the grass. I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't care what they're doing to get the seed to plant the grass. I just want to eat my grass. Fuck. So, anyways, yeah, 2020, Donald Trump will indeed be president again. That's my prediction. All right, later.